All right, guys, we're here with Larry Sharpe. We do still have a couple of live watchers hanging on. Hopefully, they're really there. Larry, I appreciate you joining me.
Of course.
The keynote address tonight was great. We obviously here in Illinois, we obviously have a ton to learn from you. You've been carrying your message around the around the country.
I think I've done 5 states so far. I think I have 4 or 5 left.
And you certainly have. Yeah, I was going to say you got more planned, right?
Yeah.
Absolutely. Just real quick, I know you gave a little bit of background on yourself. What do you think some important things people should know about where Larry Sharpe came from that you didn't cover in your speech tonight?
Well, I think people should know that I'm from a poor neighborhood in the Bronx, that I didn't grow up wealthy, that my parents were not educated, and that my mother, had trouble with the law. So I come from a place that is not of privilege, and I know that even though I don't come from privilege, that I still know that freedom is my answer, that innovation is my answer, that entrepreneurship is the answer, and if we want to pull people out of poverty, it's not about enforcing rules, it's about opening up the market.
Right, absolutely, and that's of course that's a sentiment that we're fighting.
Yep.
All the time. So it looks like just from looking at your Facebook feed and the things that are going on. I just followed you on Twitter tonight. It's shameful. Because I needed to mention you in a tweet. But it seems like the things that are going on. Your message is primarily messaging.
Yes.
That's the banner that you're carrying to the other parties.
Well, look, we already have the data, right? The Libertarian Party has the data already. Mm-hmm. If it's just data, we would have already won. We've got to be able to get that data actually into the mind of people who have been trained to believe that we're wrong.
Right.
They believe that we are wrong, period. It's hard to break through that. But if we use our own emotion, if we're able to communicate well and message appropriately, we can get through that.
Right. Yeah, as a lot of the other libertarian commenters, such as like Thomas Woods, another New Yorker that I listen to, Dave Smith, they like to say we have the truth on our side.
Yes, absolutely.
But we're still losing in the field of battle.
Yep.
Most likely due to tactics, as we see.
Well, the issue is I don't want to win arguments.
Right.
I want to win hearts and minds. People don't vote on what is true. They vote on what they believe is true.
Sure.
And it doesn't matter if it is true. I'm not going to say that's wrong. It's not what they believe is true. It's what they feel is true. They vote on what they feel is true. And with the new media, news now is not news. News is gossip.
Oh, yeah.
If we understand that news is gossip, then we understand that people judge news like they would judge gossip. It doesn't matter if it's actually factual. They're not looking for data. They're looking for, do I believe this person?
Right.
I believe this person, therefore they are correct. That's how they look at it now. If we get that, that makes it even harder for us.
Right, absolutely, and of course we are, we are facing an uphill battle as far as just getting our message out. That one of the big things that I've been beating the drum on. I've got a very small audience, but the drum that I've been beating is that we have to tell our story. We cannot allow the media to tell our story on our behalf because they're not going to tell it right. Such as we see with the Gary Johnson campaign. You said that is the 2012 campaign is what brought you to libertarianism.
Yep, that's true.
You saw how this most recent campaign, he can say 100 things right. The one thing he says wrong is the only thing that makes the feed.
We have to realize that the media's job is not to educate us. It's not to show the truth. The media's job is only one thing, to be seen. They want you to watch them. They are just a ratings machine. They don't want to hurt Gary Johnson. They actually don't care about Gary Johnson. No. But they know that beating him up sells. People watch it. It's funny. It's good. And in fact, if they keep the big 2 major parties in power, they get more advertising dollars. This is about them getting advertising money. They don't care about Gary Johnson either way. They don't care about us either way. If we were exciting and we could get them advertising dollars, they'd cover us.
Yeah, that's a really good point. That's a really good point. Okay, so I don't want to. Some of the things you definitely covered, so I want to skip over and just kind of fill in some gaps here.
Okay.
One of the things that we've been working on here in Illinois, we're set up in a chapter sort of formation, right?
Sure.
So there's the state party here, but then who is available in the local communities is a chapter, and so we have activists at the local level, and we meet and we do messaging and we respond to local issues. What would you say is important for the small clusters of activists engaging in their communities? What type of advice would you have for them?
Two things. One is internal. When it comes to internal, the first thing people often want to do when they start a new chapter or have trouble with a chapter is, let's organize. I don't want to organize first. That's a mistake. The first thing is to find a mission or a vision or a goal. You want to know what you're shooting for. If you are leading a chapter, you're a chair or a vice chair, small chapter, big chapter, but you want to make change, get your people together and say, why are we here? Why are we here? What do we want to achieve? What do we want to do in a year or 2 years from now? Have that conversation first to get everyone on the same page, to get everyone going towards the same goal. You as the chair or vice chair, you may not dictate that goal. It must be a conversation. It must be a joint goal that everyone agrees with, right? If we all agree, and if it's not your goal, if you're a chair, be quiet, accept their goal.
Oh, yeah, right.
Accept their goal. Okay, your goal is to get 3 people elected in 5 years. Deal. Your goal is to grow a chapter to 50 people. Deal. Your goal is to, get enough signatures in the first week. Deal. Whatever your goal is, I'm happy with it. Yes. Now that we have a goal, now discuss organizing.
I see. Organize toward the goal.
That's correct.
Because you got to have, you need people pulling the cart, but where are we pulling the cart?
Yes, and some people shouldn't be pulling the cart. Some people should be repairing the wheels.
Sure. Right.
Some people should be loading the cart.
Yeah.
Right? And if you just tell them to do it and there's no reason, they don't want to do it. If they know the goal is to get there, they'll start loading the cart themselves. They'll start figuring stuff out. They'll know how to talk to others to bring them in too. There's a reason for the party. It can't just be liberty. That's not enough.
Right.
So that's the first thing when it comes to internal. External. Start to talk about the issues that the people locally care about. Not liberty, libertarian answers to a specific problem situation.
Right.
So say in your county, there's a problem with transportation. Right? I'm making this up, right? But whatever county we don't have a good transportation system. It's a problem, right? The roads are bad, or there's no railway, or the airports are bad, or whatever the case may be, right? Talk about how we can get private sectors to fix that. Discuss those issues. Don't say it's libertarianism. Talk about the issue.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then they'll get it. Oh, it's a different way of doing it. They're always going to think the answer is pass a law. You've got to show them there's another answer.
Yeah, right.
You start that, they'll start talking to you. Now, if you want to reach out to them and touch them, be wherever they are. If you know people in your community like bowling, right, if they like that, then why can't you sponsor a bowling league? Right, to get people who bowl. If you know that people want to become entrepreneurs, why can't you sponsor a class on how to get an SBA loan, or how to do venture capital, or how to start a business, or insert thing here.
Sure.
You can even go down to a lower level. If you look at someone in your group and say someone's a good plumber, I'm making that up, right? Someone's a good plumber. Do a plumbing class.
Yeah.
Let the Libertarian Party of your county sponsor a plumbing class.
Okay.
Whatever it takes that you think people care about, who will show up. Now, if plumbing's not an issue in your county, that's a bad idea. But if plumbing's an issue in your county, that's a good idea. So that's how I would touch the people. I wouldn't do things that are so traditional. I would be non-traditional guerrilla marketing.
I see. I'm already getting some ideas here because we got a couple IT people, and IT is a big.
Oh my God! Yes, yes. Why wouldn't you do a Windows class, or a class on how to basic programming, or a class on setting your PC up, or a class
on privacy?
Privacy, yes.
That's a big one. Right?
Absolutely, yes.
Yeah, I mean, it's giving me good ideas just talking to you. You know, a lot of the so we in our chapter, what we've done is we have actually waded into some of these issues, and it's really. We're really enjoying the first time that we've had the manpower to do so, in part because these recent campaigns did get us interest, and new activists came in, and you met a lot of them tonight. So we are seeing that response from the community, people who wouldn't be natural allies necessarily to libertarians, but we're speaking their language when we're fighting against TIF or when we're arguing against handouts in the community at the local level when everybody's not wearing a party.
Now, are you giving them things to do now?
Yeah,
because if we don't give them things to do, they will walk away.
Right.
And one of the best things you can get them to do is support a candidate. And support a candidate early.
Yeah.
Right? If you know someone's running in 2017, 2018, build the team today.
Absolutely.
Today. Build them today. And say, hey, he's going to run in 2018. Hey, who can be his press person? Who can be his PR person? Who can be his media person? Who can be his tech person? All these things. Build that team today.
Yeah, absolutely. That's perfect advice because we are looking to run a ton of state representative candidates because along another one of my beliefs is that we have to prove ourselves in a lower level.
Yes.
Right. So we have so many, and a lot of people, you see us on social media, so many people saying, well, the Libertarians can't win. What they mean is the Libertarians can't win the presidency.
Yes.
Which is a sentiment that I myself find I'm in agreement. Nobody's going to vote for us for the presidency if they don't know somebody on their city council who holds our beliefs.
Agreed. I think that you're exactly right. So what we need to be doing is whoever is top of ticket, the top of our ticket actually has the least chance to win. We know that to be true.
Yeah.
The top of the ticket has the least chance of winning. Not that they can't win, but the chance is the lowest, right?
Sure. Right.
I want them to run hard, absolutely, because if we run hard at the top of the ticket and the others fall down, we could win, right? That's possible.
Right. Mm-hmm.
But if they don't fall down, we have a problem. So what should the top of the ticket be doing? We as the party must be telling them, your top of ticket, your job is to promote the down ticket. Because top of ticket, while it has the least chance to win, gets the most press.
Yeah, that's right.
And that's the problem, right? The top of the ticket has the least chance to win, but gets the most press.
Right.
So since we know that to be true, whoever's the gubernatorial candidate should be saying, hey, yes, I'm running, but so is Bob Jones down in this county. So is Jane Smith down in this county. Hey, have you guys looked at Jane Doe over here and Bob over here? Mm-hmm. Yes, he or she has to be saying who is in the down ticket, letting two things happen. One, people know the party's bigger than just one person.
Yeah.
That's critical. But two, they have other options.
Right,
oh, there's someone else? I like that guy, but governor, no. But local, maybe. Now they will go to that Facebook page, go to that website, attend a rally, and meet that person. So we have to focus on that.
Yeah, man, it's interesting you say that. And, it never occurred to me. But we have talked to people that have said, I voted for Gary, and we'll say, great, did you vote for Claire, our most qualified candidate? And they're like, well, I didn't know that Claire was on the ticket.
Yes.
But if you look at the other parties, what do the other parties do? You go to a Bruce Rauner rally, but he's only in town because he's campaigning for a local candidate.
You got it. Exactly right.
I don't know why I never put that together.
Yes, we must be doing that. Remember, top of ticket for us gets the most press but has the least chance of victory. So top of ticket must be talking about down ticket.
Right.
Always. I was on TV probably 7 times during the campaign last year, 6 times maybe.
Okay.
Every time I brought up, we have Alex Merced in New York. We have Lily Tang Williams in Colorado. We got Joe Miller in Texas. We got Mark Miller in Texas. Joe Miller in Alaska.
Absolutely.
We got I remember their names still. We got Richard Lyon in Connecticut because I was saying the down ticket constantly.
Yeah. Right.
Whoever's top of ticket must be doing that.
Right. And it's funny you mentioned Lily Tang Williams because every time I see somebody arguing on social media that we have no good candidates, I'm like, you're blind. You need to look at Lily Tang Williams and then tell me we don't have anybody.
Right, absolutely.
Social media. I'm going to quit talking about my arguments on social media.
Okay.
So obviously, back to what you've got going on right now. You're going around the country. Mm-hmm. Like you say, this is your 5th appearance.
I think 5th.
5th, and you've got 5 more. What are you seeing around the country and other state affiliates?
Amazing growth. Okay. Every single time that I've gone to one of these events, every time I've heard the same thing. This is the biggest convention we've ever had. I hear that today too, right?
Absolutely.
Every time I hear this is the biggest convention we've ever had. And guess what, Larry? It's not even an election year.
Right.
That's what I keep hearing. So we are having big conventions. That's number 1. But number 2, I'm seeing less infighting at the conventions. less. There's still infighting. We're libertarians. There is going to be infighting.
Absolutely. We're
But
debate
I'm
club.
seeing less infighting than I've ever seen. And the biggest part is, biggest piece is, I'm seeing younger people. Younger
Oh,
and
yeah.
younger people.
Yeah, right.
Under 30, under 35, 20-somethings. I mean, I'm seeing a lot of them showing up. Even students, 18, 19,
Yeah.
showing up at the convention. So I think those are the three things I'm seeing.
Okay, and so that kind of feeds in. I mean, obviously, like, you can't become intimately familiar with each state, just by going. Being from New York, there may be designs on a run coming up. What do you feel like? You guys are in a similar situation in New York that we have here. Heavily Democratic controlled state.
Yep.
There's a clear sort of bias, even though it's kind of weird in Illinois how we have some Republicans sort of mixed in, and you ask yourself how these people won. Like the same people that elected 2 Democrat senators simultaneously elected a Republican governor. So it's really hard to explain.
Well, look, an Illinois or New York Republican is not a Kansas Republican.
Yeah, right.
Right? They're
order to
different
win that
Republicans.
environment, it's not the same.
That's correct. They're different
Absolutely.
Republicans. They are.
Absolutely.
Not the same.
What do you think? Just because you're intimately familiar with that state, and it's very comparable to what we have here in Illinois.
Yeah.
What do you think? Where are we winning that?
It's a great question. As a general rule, we can win in the redder parts of New York, right?
Okay.
Illinois is similar to New York in that you have Chicago, which is heavily blue, and then south of I-80, is that right? Which is kind of
Yeah.
reddish.
Yeah, it's pretty
Right.
red.
Right.
You get down around back to East St. Louis and things, and
Yeah.
we start to get Democrat again.
Yeah, and we're the same, right? We have New York City, which is very blue, and then upstate New York is very red. So you get towards like Buffalo, becomes blue again.
Okay.
So we have a similar issue that you have, right? It's a similar
Sure,
state
sure.
setup. So the redder parts of the state are more open to us because they have more issues with conservatism, with higher taxes, and the problem in New York State is New York City is growing.
Right.
New York State is losing population.
Right.
So the city is still growing. So a lot of people in the city still feel it's not that bad.
Oh yeah.
Democrats aren't that bad because the city is still growing.
Right.
Right, so I mean, we're up to 8.5 million people now in New York, moving towards 9 million soon.
Oh wow.
We're really exploding, and that's just the 5 boroughs. If you take the metro area, which will include northern Jersey, we're at about 16 million people.
I see. When you
So
say
there's
5
a lot
boroughs,
of
Is that
people.
only the island, or is that the island and the Bronx?
It's Manhattan, Bronx, Queens, Brooklyn, and Staten Island. That's
Okay.
8.5 million.
Okay. Okay.
And there's about 3 to 4 million, if I'm not mistaken, on Long Island. Another 3 to 4 million if you go up to Westchester. Another maybe 6 million or so if you go right to the northern Jersey. So we're about 16 million. If you count the massive metro area, about 20 million. Depends how big you go in that circle.
Yeah. Wow.
There's more people in that area than.
That's half the population of Korea.
That's correct.
South Korea.
Yes.
That's amazing.
And more than most countries.
Yeah.
But the issue is, since the city's still growing, a lot of people still think it's okay. But if you go upstate New York, many areas are desolate. I mean, they're hurting. They're really hurting. I think we have a better chance for them to hear our message up there because they're more open to think things are bad. I want to change. New
yeah.
York City, I'm not as sure. Now, they
Right.
don't like their mayor currently. De Blasio is not very popular right now.
Oh, I
But
see.
will that change? I don't know if that'll affect the gubernatorial election. I'm not really sure.
Yeah, I understand. Yeah. Yeah, you guys don't have a great history of good mayors.
Yeah,
in,
yes.
in New York City. And Dave Smith, when I listen to his podcast, he brings it up all the time how the New York City mayor likes to brag that he's got this army, that runs the city, like the 14th largest army or whatever. It's like, it's a little weird. Like who you guys fighting? The people on the subways, it seems like.
Right.
All right, yeah, I mean, and it's a similar setup, right? Chicago being 62% of the population. 62% is an interesting figure for us here because
Is that right? Wow,
yeah,
that's a lot.
62% of the population of Chicago, and that's not to say that other cities aren't decent size. I mean, there's 120,000 people live in Springfield. I mean, it's not like the whole state is just small towns.
Yeah, well, New York City is not even 50%. It's less than 50% of the state.
Oh wow.
Yes,
Okay.
so that's what I'm saying. It's a difference. Because there's about 18 million New Yorkers and about 8.5 million New Yorker cityers. If that makes any sense.
Right. Yeah, sure.
Yeah, so.
Yeah. Well, you guys got just big universities. So, one of the problems we have here too, obviously ballot access, and I think you guys have a similar setup going on. We face as an unestablished party a 5x up to a 20x multiple in order to achieve ballot access, and plus we have later filing deadlines. And what we're seeing, the effect of that is that 63% of our legislative races go uncontested.
Yep.
At least after the primary. Very few of them will have a primary challenger. But then following the primary, it's all the way up to 62%. It's already been determined. So you have people that win the seat with 5% of the vote.
Sure.
If they're challenged to begin with.
Yep.
And obviously we have the longest standing House Speaker in United States history. So much entrenched power that we're trying to fight against. As part of our, I'm not actually formulating a question here.
You're just complaining.
Yeah, I'm just kind of complaining.
I like that, yes.
But yeah, this is our uphill battle that we face.
I like it. We do it too. In New York, the only issue with us is for us to be recognized as a party, we have to get 50,000 votes in a gubernatorial election. That's our rule.
50,000?
Yes.
Okay, I mean, I feel like
which doesn't seem that big of a deal, but we haven't done it in years.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, we haven't been able to do it. Remember, I'm a very blue state.
Yeah.
So yes, it is very hard. And our party has not been very powerful. So I'm hoping that if I run in 2018, I hope to run, that I can easily break that. That's my goal. We can become an established party, and we can keep it, I hope, after that.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'd hope you have some support there because, I mean, you kind of came out of, for people, maybe not the people in New York, maybe on the national stage, you kind of came out of nowhere and almost made it into the vice presidential slot, and now, fast forward to today, the wheat has sort of been separated from the chaff, if you will, and you're probably like the superstar. I'm not trying to like suck up to you.
Oh, I like him, superstar, I like that.
Yeah. I mean,
right.
you're kind of
superstar.
the superstar of the party right now. I mean,
I hope so.
I would hope to think that you can set some kind of records in a local race.
I do hope so. I mean, I think that I'm relatively well known in New York City as a consultant, so that I know enough people know me in New York City.
Okay.
So I hope that will be some value. I think I can raise some good money because people know me. So raising money is a critical aspect if I can do that. So yeah, and I like the superstar thing. Thank you. The goal I have is, I know that for us to have any chance at the presidency, what you said was correct. We have to win to the local level. I didn't see anybody running around trying to rally the troops. I didn't see anybody trying to rally the troops to make that happen. We have to, in Illinois, you've got to build it out into every single county, don't you? If you want to keep ballot access, right?
That's right.
So if no one's going to come here and say, hey, we're together, let's do this. Come on, guys.
Right.
I wanted someone to do that. It wasn't going to be anybody else, so I said, it's me. And that's why I'm doing it.
Wow.
So I'm hoping that if I get to enough states, enough times this year, and hopefully again next year, that by the time 2020 comes around, we're going to be a really established, entrenched infrastructure that can support enough candidates that we can actually get people in the House, in the Senate by 2020, 2022 at the latest.
Wow.
If that happens, if I'm right, and I know that's aggressive, but if I can make that happen, if I can be part of that mission, right? I can't do it by myself. I need hundreds of thousands of people to do that.
Right.
If I can get them to do that, and we make this happen, 2024, we have a shot at the presidency.
Yeah.
We've got a shot. We really do, because we'll have people then who have governed, who are in power, but more importantly, all the people who are libertarians that are not little L, who are in the Democrat Republican Party, aren't going to come to us now. But if we have that infrastructure set by 2020, 2022, and maybe in 2022 we actually have a couple people in the Senate or in the House, if they come over, we have a voting block.
Right.
They'll come over.
Yeah, I mean, we'd have to, in order for that to have happened, that would be the result of building a base of support.
Yes.
A sympathetic base.
That's correct. And an infrastructure of people in the party who know how to raise money, who know how to build a campaign, who have press contacts, who know how to organize events, who know how to put this together, who know how to speak, who know how to train. All those things. And homegrown people who have won.
Right.
We have that. They'll come. But more importantly, when they come, they can't take over our party.
Oh, right, because we've
established infrastructure and culture, and now they join our party. They don't come to take over our party.
Right. Yeah, that's right. That's an important thing, and that does lead me into what I'm going to be my last question, and then if you want to keep talking, because you're like a walking seminar. I mean, let's be honest.
Walking seminar. You're good to me tonight. Thank you.
All right. Yeah. Well, I mean,
good.
So the first ever interview I did was with Ben Swan. Well, I interviewed Lex Green and then Michael Badnarik, and then Ben Swan, all on the same night. It was the first time I ever did on-camera interviews. That was 3 years ago. But it keeps going. Like I keep getting a bigger deal, here and there. But I want to get your opinion on this. Part of what you saw in the presidential nomination process at the last convention is almost reflected here in Illinois. The question that we have to answer as far as how we choose our candidates is sort of, in my mind, and I don't have a strong opinion on this, so I'm not trying to lead you any way. Do you take a person who has a strong profile and, like you said, let's say you agree with them 80% of the time. They have a very strong profile. Or maybe it's right at 80%, for the sake of argument. You may have a couple issues, like real issues with them. But they've got a really good profile. Or you take the person that is really good principally, and let's say that you can mold them into a good speaker, or that, with time they'll become a very good messenger. But more principled. So, and we see that reflected in the presidential nominations. We had somebody like Governor Johnson who's got very good credentials. Okay, perhaps not the best messenger, and perhaps not the most principled as we'd like. Okay, or you take someone the polar opposite him would be like Darryl W. Perry, very principled. My opinion of Darryl Perry is that he doesn't really message that well, but let's say he did. But he's nobody, and he wears a suit with tennis shoes, which is a big pet peeve for me. What do you think about that? Polar opposites, kind of where on that scale do you think we land for our best chance to win or
Well, I think this is a good question, and there's not one answer. So let me give you a couple answers.
Sure.
If I'm looking in 2020 for the top of the ticket, I want someone who will draw attention to the party and not make us look bad.
Okay.
That's what I want for 2020. Someone who will draw attention to the party and not make us look bad.
Sure.
Now, I'd like to have someone who has popularity and or money, along with someone who is principled enough and practical enough to hone and train them and keep them in check.
Okay.
Top or bottom ticket, I don't care which way that goes.
Sure.
Wouldn't bother me either way. That's my perfect world. I get both of those together, right? Because that means I get a good principled message with someone who gains attention, and I can talk about down ticket.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I wouldn't say that for 2024, though. I would change my mind for that. For 2020, that's what I would say, for top of ticket.
Okay.
Now,
okay.
Because again, I'm assuming that we're probably not going to win in 2020. So this is a messenger more than anything else, right?
Kind of paving the way.
Paving the way, yes.
Yeah.
Now, down ticket, we could win in 2020 and 2018. We have shots of winning in these.
Right.
Now I'm more concerned because they might actually win. And I want someone who's going to be a libertarian when they win. So my opinion changes on the down ticket. If that makes any sense.
Okay.
I need someone who is going to govern in a libertarian way.
Yeah. Right.
Does that make sense?
Well, yeah, because then when people experience, and this is something that I've heard that I've actually had people tell me that they've turned away from libertarians because they knew these two libertarians and they were nuts.
Yep.
And it was this guy on the city council somewhere that we'd never heard of, and they obviously were not part of the party because we didn't know about it. I mean,
right.
But we can't have that in the future. I mean, not accounting for whatever their experience was, we can't have that in the future that the only person that they encounter libertarian is Alex Jones or something.
Right, exactly, yeah.
He's running around crazy.
So I do want someone who I think can govern in a libertarian manner. Depending upon where my guy or gal is, right? If they're in a district to where communication is going to be critical, then I want a better communicator.
Oh, right.
I want a better communicator. That's what I want. I want a better communicator. Do I want them to be as pure as possible? No, I don't. Not now. And the reason is that will make some people angry. I get it. But I'd rather have the lieutenant governor be the pure one.
Okay.
Right? The vice president be the pure one. Right? I'm okay with purity, but not at the top of ticket right now. And the reason why I say that, I know it makes some people angry, America's not ready for it yet.
Oh, yeah, right.
They're not ready for it yet. They're not ready for that at this moment. It's too early. I know some people don't want to hear that, and it makes them upset. I do want someone to have a principled message, but they don't have to be smacking someone over the head.
Okay.
Now, does that mean I don't want activists to be that way? No, I want activists to be smacking people over the head. I'm okay with that. The candidate and the activist are two different people. The assumption here is if I want my candidate to be more nuanced, that I think everyone should be more nuanced. No, I just did a talk on this in Harrisburg. You know what? While George Washington is dropping bombs, fighting our Civil War, Ben Franklin is playing diplomat in France.
Yeah, right.
We need a diplomat and the warrior. We need both.
Right.
Not one or the other. Right? While Martin Luther King Jr. is talking peace, Malcolm X is talking war.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So we need both. And I want us to understand that. Just because I want a candidate, when he's talking to the masses, to be a bit more chill, a bit more, okay, let's talk this out, doesn't mean we don't need activists who are going to start yelling taxation is theft.
Right.
I think we need all of those.
Yeah.
All of those. So I just want to be clear on that. Just because I say that doesn't mean I want them all. They're all valuable. They all matter. The question is, are we going in the right direction?
Right. Yeah, I mean,
Did I answer your question or no?
Yeah, I think you did. I mean,
good. All right.
But and you know, kind of on to what you said is like this is going to upset people. This is the conversation we got to have, though. I mean, because you see all the, you can't please anybody. Well, the last election cycle didn't please anybody. The people that liked Gary can't believe that other people didn't support him, and the people that didn't like him can't believe that the LP again, nominated the worst candidate possible. And I was like, well, okay, it's not like the CEO of Overstock.com is like begging us for the nomination,
but he will.
Right,
but
once
he will.
We have different infrastructure, and we have a different reputation.
That's correct. He will.
I mean, yeah. We'd had other people like John McAfee. He's got a little baggage. Gary's not the best messenger, maybe not the most principled. He turns people off. He had best resume. I don't know what happened with Bill Weld, but I mean, it's not like we had, some multimillionaire from New York that has a reality TV show going, hey, I'm coming for you. But going forward, we have to look. Do we take the credentials? Because if you boil down that race, that's what it was.
But if you look back now with hindsight, right? With hindsight, we didn't know it then. Look back with hindsight. Some people knew, but we needed someone like a McAfee on that ticket.
I mean, yeah.
Someone who could have got press, someone who had money. We needed someone on that ticket somewhere, whether he was the VP or the president, I don't know, but with someone like him, right? Would have been good. We picked two of the same people. We picked two Republican governors.
You
picked two of the same people. That's why I ran. I like Gary. I've always said, people get mad at me when I say I like Gary. I've always liked Gary. I think he would have been a great president.
Yeah.
I think if he was president now, we'd be in a much better place than where we are now. I think he is an instinctual libertarian. Like, he gets that things are just, that's not right. We can't do that because it isn't. He gets that, and he would have been a good president.
Right.
Having Bill Weld, I felt, was not the right answer. Obviously, that's why I ran. I wanted someone who was a bit different than I wanted two different people. I wanted to balance that ticket better.
Yeah.
I would have been okay, even tell you the truth, it's going to sound crazy, but even a Johnson McAfee.
Yeah,
even
Johnson,
that.
McAfee,
because even with that, not that I'm a big McAfee fan, I'm not saying that, but McAfee at least he would have gotten the attention that we could have used. So I think that could have been something, right? Or anyone, even a Johnson insert person here.
Yeah, absolutely.
Would have been a better one.
Yeah, I mean, I did an interview with Alicia Dern. I would like to have her on there, get the woman vote.
Sure.
That sounds sexist, but there is something having a very intelligent, professional woman on your ticket. I mean, that means something to some people. So anyway, I mean, and again, I'm not trying to rehash history or say what we should have done, but
it's all hindsight now.
It is. It's all history.
And look, no matter what you think about what Johnson did, no matter, could we have done better? Yes, of course we could have done better, but we did good.
Yeah, we
Gary Johnson did a good job. He did. Yeah. He increased the party. More people know us than ever.
Yeah.
He did a good job.
Yeah, I mean, look at and a lot of people that say that Johnson hurt the party, they weren't seeing the registrations coming in. They're
That's
not
correct.
Seeing our state parties. Today.
Yes.
They're not seeing what we saw, what we just went through.
What I'm seeing every single state convention I'm going to.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
If you want to say could have Johnson have done better, yes, of course he could have done better. Absolutely.
Yeah,
But did he do poorly? No, he did a good job. Clearly, he did a good job. The party is growing. We have more people here than we've ever had. It's working. Now it's our job. He's done his bit. Now it's our job to make the next steps.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I had another thing I was going to ask you. It slipped my mind. It was something that you said in the middle there. But it slipped my mind. Your mic, what do you want to leave us with? Obviously, you've given us a lot between your breakout session last night that you're doing, the keynote address tonight, which was fantastic. What do you want to leave us with that what we can do here in Illinois, prepare us for the future, and get this cart moving forward, get libertarianism for the masses?
Here's what I think is the most important thing. Build your local chapters. Give them missions. Get candidates running. But more importantly, do not let candidates run on their own. I can't say this enough. You cannot let candidates run on their own.
Right.
If you are a candidate and you're running and you don't ask your party to give you 4, 5, 6 volunteers to help, you are hurting your party. You are being selfish. People want to help. They want to assist. Not everybody wants to run for office. Not everybody should run for office.
Absolutely.
Some people are better at supporting. They're better at helping. They're better at doing the work behind the scenes. They're good at that. Let them do it. The more people who do that, the better we'll get, the better we'll build infrastructure. So run candidates, but no matter what, support those candidates. Don't let them run by themselves. If you're a candidate, don't you dare run by yourself. If you're in the party, you see someone running by themselves, don't you dare not support them. Build a team for them. The more that teams we build, the more people understand how things work, the more experience we get, the more of an infrastructure we have, the more in 2018, 2019, 2020, we can actually win.
Yeah, I think that's perfect advice. I mean, obviously, everything you just said there is what we need to be doing. So, all right. Well, guys, I appreciate you watching. Larry, thank you so much for coming out here and giving us all this time. I know you did multiple interviews and just kind of pouring into us the knowledge and everything that you've been accumulating through the years. It's amazing.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Thanks
Have a good one.
much. All right.